His MVP. Golf swung, right field. Forget about it. Rangers strike first. Goes after the first one. Drills a high fly ball. Left center field. This game is tied. From Javier. Seager hits a high fly ball. Deep right field. A bomb into first. One swing. Drive. It's tied. Seager smashes the ball down line. Goodbye. Now Seager to right center field. Way back there. Gone again. Corey Seager does it again. It's Texas Rangers win the World Series. The Willie Mays Most Valuable Player Trophy presented by Chevrolet. Is there any doubt? Corey Seager.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you at the beginning of the 2024-2025 MLB offseason. We're here to talk all things Rangers offseason. We're going to get into the transactions, the front office shakeup. We're going to talk about Josh Smith getting that silver slugger and more. We'll go through some hot stove stuff, talk about some potential Rangers free agent options, and we'll take all your questions and comments as we usually do. Appreciate all of y'all tuning in, whether you're watching live or on the replay. Of course, here at Right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers, and especially the Rangers during the MLB offseason. Thank you for choosing Right on Rangers for all of your Texas Rangers content. Appreciate you. Well, let's get right into it. We got to start with the positive here. Josh Smith getting the Silver Slugger Award for a utility man. And I think we can definitely say that this season that we just got from Josh Smith was most unexpected. I don't think anybody expected Josh Smith to be this type of contributor in the 2024 season. And of course, you really don't like the nature in which he has to be a Silver Slugger Award winner. It took a Josh Young injury for Josh Smith to emerge as this presence, as this mainstay in the Rangers lineup in 2024. But nevertheless, I think we can all look back on it thankful that Josh got the opportunity, regardless of the way in which he got it, with Josh Young getting hit with an upper 90s fastball, in week 2 of the season. But congrats to Josh Smith. I think Josh is going to play a pivotal role for the Rangers next year. He's going to be that super utility man. I don't think Josh is going to be an everyday starter per se, but with the nature of some of the players that the Rangers have who just happen to be injured almost one time at minimum per season, I think Josh Smith is going to be invaluable. You're going to need Josh Smith. I think he's going to get probably at least 120 games, probably 400 bats at minimum next year. He will have a pivotal role. Don't think he's going to be an everyday starter per se, barring some kind of injury to a starter, which, knock on wood, I hope doesn't happen. But Josh Smith definitely going to be a guy you see a lot in the lineup next year. Let's talk about the 2024, though. Let's relish Josh Smith's 2024 season, winning a Silver Slugger Award. Huge accomplishment for a guy like him. So 2024, Josh Smith, 3.2 WAR, 523 at-bats, 135 hits, 13 bombs, 258 batting average. At one point in the season, that was up around 300. Remember when Josh Smith was the Ranger with the highest batting average on the team? There was a time it was higher than Seager. It was higher than a lot of these guys. It was impressive. He tailed off a little bit at the end of 2024. I think you can probably attribute that to him not really having played a full MLB season, really going through that grind. I think it was difficult. I think you saw Josh wear down a little bit at the end of the season. But going back to the stats from 2024, 67 runs, 62 RBI, 11 stolen bases, 337 OBP, 394 slugging, OPS, a very respectable 731. Love it. absolutely impressive from a guy like Josh Smith, drafted by the Tigers in the 38th round of the 2016 MLB draft, then went back and got redrafted in 2019 in the June amateur draft. He played obviously at LSU. Yankees drafted him in the second round and then was traded to the Rangers. That was in that Joey Gallo deal. If you remember, Joey Gallo gets traded for Josh Smith. I think Ezekiel Duran was in that deal as well, if I'm not mistaken. That Joey Gallo trade to the Yankees just looks better and better, especially with this Josh Smith award. Silver Slugger for a utility man in the AL. Love to see it. And there were some career highs for Josh Smith this year. You look at Smith's numbers over his career. Definitely, you look at the home runs. He had previously hit 6 total homers in a season, doubled that. There were just a number of career highs for Josh Smith this year. Highest batting average. He hadn't hit above 200. In 2022, 2023, Josh Smith finished with batting averages below 200. So to have him go 258 from 185 last year, there were just a lot to be proud of with Josh. And I hope that he continues to build off of that for next year. Can only hope. By the way, what's up to everybody tuning in on TikTok? I see some people in on YouTube. Appreciate all you guys. Tristan, what's up, man? Yeah, this is one of my favorite hoodies. World Series champions, man. I will treasure that 2023 season till the day I die. I think I bought just about one of every World Series championship gear I possibly could when they dropped. So we went World Series champions tonight, man. We got the hoodie. We got the hat. Absolutely. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Josh Smith deserves it. Baseball Network, what's up? I agree. Josh Smith, an incredible year. One that was totally unexpected. As I said to open, no, you don't love the nature in which he gets thrust into this everyday role. Josh Young, who was hitting like 430 at the time, gets nailed on the wrist by an upper 90s fastball, which allows Josh Smith to become that everyday player. It all worked out. It all worked out. So Josh Smith, enjoy it. A great thing that we can really celebrate from the 2024 Rangers season. Look, it's getting dicey to come up with things to be happy about in that 2024 season. But I will say, absolutely got to appreciate Josh Smith. He had a great year. He's going to be a guy that the Rangers are going to be using in 2024 in that super utility role once again. Maybe it ends up being a great thing for Josh Smith. I just said he kind of, I feel like, wore down at the end of the 2024 season. I don't know if y'all agree with that or not. I feel like it's a reason why you saw the decline. I think that he just was not used to that 162 game grind. And I think the dip that you saw from Josh at the end of the 2024 season was a direct result of that. I hope in this new role that he's going to assume in 2025, probably spelling Simeon, Seager, Josh Young. I bet you'll see Josh Smith play a little outfield this year. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good thing for him. He doesn't have the pressure of an everyday player. You're going to see him get those maintenance days, those days off. I hope it ends up being a really solid role for him. Barring an injury, I think that they are going to get him in the sweet spot. 120 games, 400 at-bats. You notice once Josh got past that 400 at-bat mark, it started dipping for him. You started seeing Josh Smith struggle a lot after he got to that 400 AB mark. So I feel really good with where Josh Smith is going to be in 2025. Looking forward to a great year from him. Going to get to comments here. Let me check them out now that I did my big lead. Anything on Kirby Yates? No. And I got to say, I still think there's a shot the Rangers can bring back Kirby or David Robertson, but I don't know if it's anything more than a 50-50 shot at this point. Fluffy Knights, appreciate the gift, man. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Let me scroll back here and make sure I didn't miss anybody. What's up to everybody tuning in? Appreciate all of y'all. We're just talking Rangers, Texas Rangers offseason right now. Appreciate the follows. By the way, I see a couple people followed the account. Thank you. Means a lot. Let me see what else. They could have gone 1-161, and I still would have been fine with the season. Look, that is the perspective. We tried to have that perspective as much as possible. The perspective that says, you know what? We just won a freaking World Series. Let's not focus on the negative. 2024 sucked. It wasn't awesome. But you know what? We won a World Series in 2023. It was hard to get me too down, considering that, of course, as fans, we want to see the club do well. We don't want to see what happened in 2024 again in 2025. But the perspective is 100%. 2023 World Series champions. It's right across the chest right here. Don't get it twisted. The Rangers, it doesn't happen every season. It's not going to happen every season. Appreciate what Texas did in that 2023 year. Let me keep on going here. Let's see what else we got. Thoughts on Leclerc? I hope he goes. Yeah, Leclerc is a free agent. I mean, Leclerc is a free agent. We're going to see what happens with him. I don't know if they're going to end up re-signing him, but Leclerc can opt for free agency. So the Rangers very well might not get Leclerc back. I don't know if they're going to be bringing Jose back. I haven't heard anything of that nature in the exit interviews. You haven't heard Leclerc's name as a guy that's going to be a top priority. So I don't know what they're going to be doing with Leclerc. I really don't. Corey, what's up, man? It will make me sad if Yates, Robertson don't make it back. I know they're not going to keep both those dudes. It's just impossible. Both those guys are going to be around $10 million a year. We know what the numbers are that CY and the new guys in the front office, who we're going to talk about in a second, have kind of thrown out there, which is $25 million. I just don't see a path. Maybe you get a guy like David Robertson back. Maybe you get Kirby Yates back. I'm not holding my breath. I really think the Rangers are going to piecemeal it together again. You saw Curvello got signed, a guy that has not made any kind of major league appearances, strictly a minor league guy at this point, but a guy that's going to be on the 40-man roster, had a really good minor league season this last year. So you think about, 2024 for him, he was 4-0 with a 2.57 ERA. We're talking about Luis Curvello, the guy the Rangers just signed. We'll see. I think the Rangers are going to do a lot more of those, kind of just piecemealing things together. Anyways, I'll keep going. Do I think today with Garcia a whole lot more this spring? Clarify that question a little bit for me, Corey. Appreciate you, bud. Any Evan Carter updates? They said he's going to be ready. They said Evan Carter will be ready for the spring. Nothing more than that. They just talked about at exit interview, CY said pretty much everybody's going to be ready for spring training. That's really all we've got on the guys that are injured. Dolly's going to be ready. Evan Carter's going to be ready. Haven't gotten any other update beyond the one we got, about a month ago when the season ended. So we'll see. I'll keep y'all posted if I hear anything, but I have not gotten any updates beyond that. Keep on going. Let me talk about this, and I'm going to let me get to YouTube comments. I don't want to neglect y'all here. Let me check this out. John, how about the Dodgers? This is a comment on YouTube, by the way. I know y'all can't see it. I wish I could get it all to sync up. TikTok doesn't let me sync my live stream with all my other socials. It's annoying, but we got to roll with it. So all my people on TikTok, appreciate y'all hanging in there. I'm going to read off the comments to you guys. The comment on YouTube says, hey, how about the Dodgers World Series gear printed with the Rangers signatures on the back? Did y'all see that? I wish that I had a couple more people on the team with me. I could flash all this stuff up in real time, but you're going to have to check this out on your favorite social. So the Dodgers World Series gear, every year they come out with like a t-shirt that has all of the signatures of all the players on it for the World Series champions. I think I got a Rangers one. It's really awesome. In fact, I'm pretty sure the Rangers one that I got last year has all those signatures like in the exact same order on it. So anyways, Fanatics, who has had a bit of a tumultuous 2024 season, Fanatics printed all of the Rangers signatures from last year on the 2024 World Series champion Dodgers gear. I mean, you can't make this up. Freaking hilarious. I don't know what is going to become of Fanatics. I'd love to see somebody else rise up and compete with them a little bit. Fanatics has just got such a huge stronghold on the marketplace. And I know they're doing everything. I was just talking about this with a buddy who just totally rails on Fanatics. Look, they do a lot of good stuff, but they're just trying to do everything right now. They literally do every single sport. You're just bound to get mistakes when you are just reaching into literally every nook and cranny of the sporting merchandise world. Hockey, college, you got basketball, football, baseball. They're doing everything. So I'm not shocked that they have these hiccups here and there. I would love to see somebody compete with them a little bit more, but kind of embarrassing. But then again, they had the embarrassment with the jerseys at the beginning of the year. You had the pants, all the stuff that they were putting out there for the players, getting a lot of negative attention. I just was not shocked to see them botch the Dodgers World Series gear. That was pretty funny, no doubt. Absolutely. John, what's up, my man? By the way, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Let me keep going. John says, well-deserved from Josh. His first half was a ton of the Rangers, even being competitive. That is something that I neglected to say, so I'm glad you brought it up. I mean, you remember the Rangers at the beginning of 2024, the beginning of the season, were struggling. I mean, look, they didn't have production from Evan Carter. Corey Seager got off to an incredibly slow start in 2024. Of course, he had the hernia surgery during spring training. Josh Smith was low-key carrying. He was low-key carrying. I don't even know if it was low-key. The dude was carrying the offense at the beginning of 2024. He just was. And like I said, tailed off at the end. I think the overusage got to him a little bit. We're talking the dog days of August and September, but Josh Smith carried the offense at the beginning of the season, April and May. And he was hitting near 300. He was hitting homers. He was coming up with clutch hits. It was outstanding. Outstanding. So 100%. John, thanks for tuning in with that. Baseball Network says, what's happening with Bruce Bochy? So far, dude's going to be coaching in 2024. I do kind of wonder, and I was going to bring this up a little bit later as I kind of move from segment to segment here, but I wonder, is Skip Schumacher just kind of a bridge guy for a year or two, and then he's going to be going on to his next managerial position? Or was the Skip Schumacher acquisition, whatever you want to call it, was that a potential move for post-Bochy? Is Skip going to be a guy that the Rangers look to insert into the managerial position once Bruce retires, moves on? I don't know. That was my first honest thought. I mean, Skip Schumacher, honestly, is a guy that a lot of people really respect from a managerial perspective. I think that he's a guy that a lot of teams would be wanting to have after this next 2025 season. I think Skip is definitely going to be a manager again one day. I wonder if it's possible, if the Rangers have some kind of plan for him when Bochy decides to hang it up for good. Is Skip going to be kind of the next Venable, if you will? The Rangers, of course, lose Will Venable to the White Sox. Will Venable going to be the head coach of the Chicago White Sox in 2025. Is Skip going to be kind of that coach in waiting replacement? I think it's a great move. I think Skip Schumacher, what he did with the Marlins, I mean, look, not this year, but the year before when the Marlins made the playoffs, it was impressive. I mean, that's something I did not expect. Skip, obviously, was a big-time player with the Cardinals, and he played with a couple of other organizations, but I really think that the Skip Schumacher move is a solid one, and the Rangers added a couple other guys to go along with Chris Young, who, of course, gets promoted to president of the organization. We're going to talk about the new GM and the new assistant GM in just a second, but look, that's my thoughts on Bochy. Maybe we get a couple more years out of him, and then I would just not be shocked if Skip Schumacher ends up getting inserted into that managerial role after Bruce Bochy's ready to hang it up. Thoughts on Curvelo? Kind of touched on Luis Curvelo a little bit. He was with the Seattle minor league organization last year, had about a 2.50 ERA in the minors last year for Seattle. really think that it's probably going to end up being one of those, moves that nobody really gets super pumped about, but maybe we see him pitching in March in spring training. Maybe he catches our attention there. I don't know if he's going to make the big league roster out the gate, but this kind of feels like just one of those under the radar moves. And then we're going to see Luis Curvelo pitching in the majors. And who is this guy throwing upper 90s and doing a great job for us in certain spots? I just wouldn't be surprised. I think CY has a knack for finding solid bullpen arms that not a lot of people had on their list. So I'm excited to see what he does. He's never pitched in the majors. So look, guys, you just don't know. With guys that have never pitched in the majors before, you just don't know. Are they going to come up, and is it going to translate the success they had in the minors to the major league level? I don't know. And Curvelo was a AA guy last year. Are they going to start him in AAA? Are they just going to jump him straight from AA to the majors? I think we got to see him pitch in spring training. I'd imagine he'll get a spring training invite. We'll see what happens. Aaron, I'm glad you brought this up. This wasn't in any of my headlines for the show or in the description, but we got to talk about Wyatt Langford. So I don't know if Wyatt gets robbed for Rookie of the Year. Like, I wasn't expecting him to win Rookie of the Year. I think he definitely had an argument for winning Rookie of the Year, but I don't think Wyatt Langford got snubbed for Rookie of the Year. I will say this. I think he absolutely got snubbed not even being a finalist. How is Wyatt Langford, who led all American League rookies in WAR, how is Wyatt Langford not even a finalist for American League Rookie of the Year? Look, you want to give it to somebody else. I wasn't upset. I'm not upset that he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, but to not even be a finalist when you led all AL rookies in WAR, qualifying rookies, I don't even get that at all. And I don't even think it was super close. I have no idea why Austin Wells, for example, gets the nomination over Wyatt Langford. Rangers Nation, who I know some of y'all probably follow, they did a really nice graphic about this. Rangers Nation did. I'm going to pull it up right now. I've got X pulled up. Let me just go through this with you right now. Let me see if I can find it. So Wyatt Langford, 3.9 WAR. Colton Cowser, 3.1 WAR. Austin Wells, 2.5 WAR. I mean, 3.9 from Wyatt to 2.5 with Austin Wells. Wyatt played in more games than Austin Wells. Wyatt had more hits than Austin Wells. He had more home runs, more RBI, and it wasn't even close. Wasn't even close. Austin Wells had 55 RBI. Wyatt Langford had 74. Wyatt Langford, 74 runs scored. Austin Wells, 50. Wyatt Langford, 253 batting average. Austin Wells, 229. This gets ridiculous. OBP, 325. Austin Wells, a few ticks behind, 322. Wyatt Langford, better slugging percentage and a better OPS and 19 stolen bases. Look, there's an argument for Wyatt Langford to be Rookie of the Year, no doubt. I just think the full package, the defense, which, look, I know I got on Wyatt, the arm slot in the middle of the season. I do think he's a little raw still defensively. That being said, he had a lot of great defensive plays out there. It's only going to get better. I think there's a strong argument for Wyatt Langford to be Rookie of the Year, but how does the dude not even get nominated? How is he not even a nomination? That's a joke. I don't know who decides that, whether it's the writers. It probably is. I think that's how it goes. The baseball writers, they kind of make their suggestions. They vote on it, whatever. How do you leave out Wyatt Langford, who pretty much led all AL rookies in a number of stats? Hits, RBI. I mean, he had more RBI than any other AL rookie. It's insane that he wasn't even a nominee. So I will go there. I think there's an argument for Rookie of the Year, but it is a crime, 1,000% a crime that he wasn't even nominated. Got to be kidding me. Let me keep going. All right, rant over. Aaron, you got me on one, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for the comment. I did see that this morning. Rangers Nation, again, great account to follow if you're not following Rangers Nation. Love those guys. That graphic made me upset to start a Wednesday morning. Just upset. Let me keep on going here. We'll go to Natalie. Appreciate you tuning in. Natalie says, interested to see how they construct the outfield. Look, Carter is not going to be an everyday guy. They've said that they're going to ease Evan Carter back into things here when 2025 rolls around. So, look, I'd imagine against righties, Evan Carter is going to be in there most days. You got Wyatt in left, and you got Dolly in right. I think that is going to be what they go with most of the time. I think Leote's coming back. You guys know I'm not the biggest Leote fan in regards to his play on the field. It's nothing personal. I'm sure he's an outstanding guy. Just the play on the field. It's too streaky for me. I would love to see them move away from Leote, but everything Chris Young said, I mean, he straight up said in the exit interview, CY did, Leote needs to take the next step in his development or in his game, basically. Does that sound like the words from a man that's about to let Leote go? I don't think so. I mean, if you're bringing up Leote and you're saying he needs to take the next step, I don't think you're getting rid of the guy. So I do think that is going to be the outfield construction. Let me keep going here. Aaron says, no, you're right. What I was going to say, at least put the kid in the talks, maybe not win it all. Yeah, to not even, exactly, Aaron, not even have Wyatt Langford as a nominee, that is ridiculous. Again, a crime. It's criminal. And it makes you wonder, like, what are these guys looking at? What are you looking at? You've got all these stats. Baseball, we know more than any other sport, is a stats game. So WAR, which is like one of the stats that gets put on the pedestal almost more than any other, WAR, Wyatt Langford leads all AL rookies, RBI, stolen bases. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. And Austin Wells. I mean, look, I know Austin Wells had some nice moments for the Yankees, but seriously, Austin Wells had 13 home runs and hit 229. Like, Austin Wells had 414 plate appearances, played in 20 less games, and the numbers weren't even close. I just don't get it. I really don't get that one. I could keep going on. I really could. I'm going to try and get to all y'all's comments. TikTok, I know I got to catch up a little bit here. Yeah, I think Baseball Network has a point. Baseball Network on YouTube says it's because Austin's a Yankee. I do agree there's got to be some Yankee bias there. 100%. There's got to be some Yankee bias. I don't know if there's any other good explanation. Austin Wells is a Yankee. Wyatt Langford plays for the Rangers. Yankees, obviously, huge market team. I don't know if there's any other explanation for why Austin Wells is a nominee for Rookie of the Year instead of Wyatt Langford, beyond the fact that Austin Wells plays for the New York Yankees. I'm not trying to be a hater. What other reasoning would you possibly give for why Wyatt's not above him? John says, I think Wyatt was definitely snubbed. Inside the park homer, walk-off grand slam, hit for the cycle. And I think y'all remember Jackie Robinson and Wyatt Langford are the only guys to do that as rookies. Inside the park homer, walk-off grand slam, hit for the cycle in the same season. Remember, it was Wyatt Langford and Jackie Robinson. But he's not even a nominee for Rookie of the Year, even though he's the only rookie, along with Jackie freaking Robinson, to have accomplished some of these things that he accomplished this year. Ridiculous. All right. TikTok, let me catch up here. And then I got a couple other things for y'all tonight. Evan Carter, Wyatt, Garcia, outfield 100%. And then Leote, I think, is going to be in there. I don't know what they're going to do, though, because they didn't want Leote against lefties, right? They don't want Evan Carter against lefties. So what are you going to do? I almost feel like you've got to go out and you've got to get an outfielder. I don't know if they're just going to go with the guys within. You know, they've got, Sandro Fabian. They've got Fabian. They've got a couple other guys. They've got Dustin Harris. I don't know if they're just planning on bringing one of those guys up and carrying them. So you've got Leote, and then you've got Fabian or Harris. And then, of course, you got a couple other guys in Double-A. the minor league player of the year. You have a few other guys that you could potentially bring up or promote from within. I would probably like to see them go out and get a guy, a righty that can handle the left-handed, but I don't know what they're going to do. Something tells me they're probably going to try to promote from within, but I'd love to be wrong. I'd love for us to go out and get a quality right-handed bat that can play the outfield and handle the lefties, because I don't think the Rangers want to play Evan Carter or Leote against lefties. I don't think that's in their plans. Let me keep going here. TV deal. Was the Rangers Regional Sports Network a pipe dream? I think they're still working on the streaming service. I think it's an app from the last thing I heard. I don't know. I think they're still going that path. At the very least, like if everything goes to crap, they can just give the TV thing over to MLB, which I don't think is as lucrative at all. But if the worst case happens, they can always hand off the TV stuff to MLB. MLB already manages several different teams, TV, streaming stuff. So, look, I don't know. I haven't gotten an update on what the Rangers are doing with their own service, but worst case scenario, they're just going to give it over to MLB. Let me keep going. Now, we know if they give it over to MLB, less money. So you guys know I'm crossing my fingers. I hope they figure out a way to get that streaming service up and running, because they'll make more money doing it their own way than giving it over to MLB. Should Bochy retire? I don't think so. He had one bad year. The pattern is, World Series champion, down year. World Series champion, down year. I would love to see a little bit more of a nice rebound. I don't think anybody loved what they saw in 2024, but I think this year is going to be big. What do the Rangers do? Are they competitive? Are they making the playoffs? I think a lot of that is going to determine what Bochy does next year. I have a feeling if the Rangers have another stinker, if they just soil the bed again in 2025 and have the same year or similar year, I don't know if he's going to come back again. I could see them moving on. If they have a good year, make it to the playoffs, get close, make it back to the World Series. I didn't really want to say it, but I'll throw it out there, speak it into existence, manifest it a little bit. You know what I mean? Look, maybe he comes back and they renew the contract year-by-year basis. But I think if the Rangers go out and have a bad 2025, I could see him hanging it up. Let me keep going on TikTok comments here. Am I going to be at spring training? Yes, I would like to. And look, I would love if anybody is going to spring training, I'm going to try and make an announcement about it when I'll be there. And maybe we can do a meetup or something. I don't know if any of y'all go, but that would be a lot of fun. I would love to do that. We could definitely catch a couple innings. That would be awesome. I would love that. I'll definitely put it out there when I'm going to be there. I'll probably be with the fam, but I'll pull away and we can maybe hang out, shoot the breeze, have a drink, all that good stuff. I would love that. But you guys know, I know some of y'all do that have been listening to me for a while. I live out in Vegas, so Arizona is about a 4-hour drive away. We actually haven't made it to spring training the past couple of years, just crazy busy. But look, Arizona, that used to be like a yearly, every single spring training tradition for me for a long time. Look, stuff comes up and life gets a little busy, but I would like to make it back in 2025. It'd be a lot of fun. So I'll let y'all know my plans for sure. That'd be fun. Let me keep going. We've got Wyatt was very streaky, but had highs. Hopefully he can put it all together from the jump. I totally agree. I think that's what every Rangers fan is hoping. Can we get Wyatt Langford going like right away? Do we have to take, the month of April and some of May to finally get going? Can we get a home run in the first week and the dude just takes off and is just consistently good all season? That would be a game changer. If you can get Wyatt Langford from the jump hitting 275 to 300, has the power, has the speed, that could be a huge, huge positive sign for the Rangers as they get started in 2025. I'd love to see it. I think it's going to be one of those keys. Can they get some fast starts? Can they get a fast start from Corey Seager? Can they get a fast start from Doley? Can they get a fast start from Wyatt Langford? Those three guys, I think, are going to be the most pivotal. If we can get good seasons, great seasons out of those three guys, I think the Rangers are going to have a lot different of an ending in 2025. Let me keep going here. Rangers actually signed anybody big? Not yet. And I don't know if that news is going to be coming. Evo would probably be the biggest signing, but I get increasingly pessimistic about signing Evo again. I just don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off. Most people are projecting Evo is going to make $20 million. You would have to shed salary in order to keep Nate Eovaldi. I've heard a couple of different potential solutions thrown out there. One of them involves trading John Gray, who's making over $10 million next year in 2025. I think if you could get rid of John Gray to keep Evo, you do it. I don't think any Rangers fan is going to balk at that. I just don't know how creative they're going to be able to get. I would love to have Evo back. I know some people are down on Nate Eovaldi. I know some people are down on him. He had his moments in the regular season where he did not look great. I blame it a lot on just the state of the season. The state of the season in August and September was not good. It just wasn't. The end of August, everybody could see the writing on the wall that it just wasn't going to happen. And look, I don't know if that affected Evo or not, but I think it's hard when you take that mound and you know that these games are kind of meaningless, for lack of a better expression, and you know you've got that player option. I mean, look, Evo could have stunk it up and opted into a $20 million contract. He had that in his back pocket. So I'm not saying that he didn't give his all. I don't want to play, psychologist, but I just think in the dog days of summer, in those games where you're not making the playoffs, it's hard to be locked in 100%. But I do think Evo taking the mound the last weekend of the series, that impressed me. I love that. He didn't have to do that, but he did. He gutted out that start for us. I love that. And that's the kind of dog that you just admire, appreciate, and respect, that dog that Evo has. I want that back in 2025. You get back to the playoffs, you want a guy like Evo that's battle-tested, regardless of the regular season that Evo had in 2024. You want a guy that's been there, done that, had success in October, won multiple championships. You just can't undervalue that. And I see some Rangers fans undervaluing Evo based on what he did this last year. He was hurt. He wasn't dominant at times in the regular season. I care about October. And that dude can take the ball for any game 7, any big game, because he's been there, done that, and he's proven that he's lights out in those big moments. So I hope that the Rangers can find a way to get Nate Eovaldi back. I'm not going to hold my breath. I don't know how likely it is. I put it probably a little under 50% based on what I've gathered from some of the Rangers beat writers and some of the MLB beat writers around the sport. I think Evo is going to get some tantalizing offers from some other clubs around the league. It's going to be tough. The Rangers really got to get creative to keep him, and there are going to be some teams that can just flip money at him, and the Rangers might be out of luck. We'll see what happens. We keep going. Should we move to Tavares? If you could trade Leote and get something decent for him, maybe a young bullpen arm, I would love it. I think they want to keep Leote. Again, I don't know why Chris Young brings up in the exit interviews. I don't know why he would bring up Leote's got to take the next step if you were planning on getting rid of him. I mean, maybe it's just, GM speak, front office speak, whatever you want to call it, but I just don't think they're going to be getting rid of him. Now, would I mind if it happened? Absolutely not. I'd like to see them trade him and get something, again, maybe a young minor league relief pitcher type. We'll see. I could see Evo going back to the Red Sox. Maybe. Look, I would really not like to see him go in division. So there's a lot of Houston talk because obviously Evo from around that area, that would be the worst. I'd much rather him go back to Boston than sign with the Astros. Let me keep going here. Will Corey retire as a Ranger? I hate to say it, but it feels like a 10-year rental. Look, Corey's going to be late 30s by the end of the contract. So unless the Rangers are going to trade Corey Seager with years left, I see Corey retiring a Ranger. Unless he just really wants to keep playing in his upper 30s and go sign a 1 or 2 year deal with somebody just to keep playing, I think Corey's going to retire a Ranger. What more does he really have to accomplish? I mean, you've won World Series MVP twice, something that only 4 players have ever done in Major League Baseball history. You've won a World Series with 2 different teams. Not a lot of guys accomplished that. Maybe he's missing an MVP, a regular season MVP, but I wouldn't be worried about that if I've got 2 rings and 2 World Series MVPs. I mean, I don't know what motivates him. He doesn't strike me as a guy that's going to play forever. I don't know what you guys think about that. Corey Seager just doesn't strike me as a guy that's going to play until the wheels fall off. He strikes me as a guy that's going to probably finish out this contract, and depending on the ending, probably right off into the sunset. Could be wrong on that, but that's my take. Let's see. Corey, great. Yeah, like I said, I'll let y'all know what games, what weekends. Maybe we can do a meetup or something. That'd be fun to hang out with y'all. Anybody that's going to be going, I would love that. That'd be great. JJ, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Anthony Santander at a Monty reunion. I'll take that. Look, I think Santander is going to command a lot of money. I think Santander is probably going to be a $20 million a year player. I really, really would be surprised if the Rangers get Santander. I would love it. That's the kind of guy that we need. We need a guy with pop in the lineup, an outfielder, a DH type. Look, we were DHing. Y'all remember this, and you know I love El Blondie, but we were DHing Travis Jankowski at one point last year. Y'all remember that? We were DHing Travis Jankowski. Like, we need a solid, consistent DH guy. I think Josh Smith is definitely going to be a dude that can step into that role occasionally, but you don't even want Josh Smith as your everyday DH. It's not a knock on him, but Josh Smith is not your prototypical DH. He's a guy that you want in that super utility role. We had Josh Smith and Travis Jankowski DHing for us. I would love to see the Rangers go and get a Santander type, but I just don't think we're going to be able to afford him. Keep going. The Monty reunion is interesting. By the way, did anybody doubt that he was going to re-sign with the Diamondbacks? I told y'all, even with the Diamondbacks owner completely trashing Jordan Montgomery, Diamondbacks owner said the Jordan Montgomery signing was one of, if not the worst acquisitions that he ever made as an owner. I mean, horrible. I mean, I feel bad for Monty. Monty should have stayed. He kind of got screwed by Scott Boras, his agent at the time. He dumped Scott Boras, but Monty was always going to opt back into that deal. I think some people were thinking maybe he's going to stiff the Diamondbacks. Why would you do that? Nobody's going to pay Jordan Montgomery $22.5 million to pitch. You have to re-sign for that money amount, and you got to go back out in 2025 and have a better season and hopefully get a decent contract after 2025. But there was some musings, no real talk, but there were some musings that maybe the Diamondbacks would try and trade him, eat a little salary, pass him off to somebody else. And I was musing at the end of the 2024 season, might the Rangers float a couple of C-level prospects, try and get Monty back? We could use another arm in the rotation. Andrew Heaney potentially leaving, Nate Eovaldi potentially leaving. I would love to see a Jordan Montgomery reunion. I think a lot of Monty's struggles last year had to do with the lack of a spring training. He did not have a traditional spring training. Pitchers are creatures of habit. Y'all know this. And so I think if you give Monty a full offseason, 100% routine, he does all of his offseason workouts with the club. He does spring training with the club, has that good buildup. I think you're going to see him have a better year. Maybe a little chip on his shoulder with the comments from the Diamondbacks owner. I would love to see him get traded back to Arlington, but again, don't know if that's going to happen or not. I wouldn't put it up there as highly likely, but if you're CY, if you are the Rangers front office, you got to at least make a call, don't you? See how much salary they're willing to eat. You got to at least make a call, right? I mean, I got to think that the new GM, and we haven't even talked about Ross Fenstermaker. Ross Fenstermaker, by the way, a guy that was involved with scouting, involved with international. Look, he's going to be the new general manager, obviously still working a lot with Chris Young. And then you get Cole Figueroa from the Tampa Bay Rays, a guy that a lot of people in baseball are excited about. And I think that these three guys, Figueroa, Fenstermaker, Chris Young, of course, are going to combine to do some really great things for the Rangers. I think you're going to see them put together, much like they did in 2024, a solid bullpen. We'll see what happens. I am excited for the offseason. I don't think it's going to be like a sexy offseason, if you will, where we're signing like super big names. I see a couple of people were asking about Sasaki. I think Sasaki has as good of a chance of signing as Ohtani did for the Rangers. Y'all might remember Ohtani was actually down to the wire with the Rangers and the Angels, and I think one or two other clubs. Like, it was close. Of course, Yu Darvish signing with the Rangers in the early 2010s and his very positive experience with Texas, I think, really spoke loudly to some of the Japanese players. So Sasaki maybe looks back on that. I just don't know if it's going to come down to him wanting to play with Ohtani, with Yamamoto, but Sasaki is not going to be expensive. The way it works out, he's actually going to be signing close to, I think he might have to sign a minor league deal initially. So we're going to be able to afford him. It really just comes down to if he is going to want to play in Texas. We know Chris Young went to scout Sasaki, so there is interest there. But I don't know if he is going to wind up wanting to play for a big market team. That's always a lure. I would love to see Roki Sasaki sign with the Rangers, especially if Ivo Andruhini and you got some other guys in there that are leaving as well. That would be great to have him back, to have one of those guys back. But if you can't get those guys back, to get Sasaki would be 100% huge. Sean Manaea, I don't know if I've heard too much on him. I heard a little bit of talk of Max Fried, Blake Snell. But again, what are those guys going to command in the offseason? We're talking a $25 million budget. I mean, Blake Snell and Max Fried are probably going to be asking for at least 15 to 20 million. Rangers are going to have to get creative with some salary if they're going to afford some big names. Like, you can't just take on all this salary and keep some of what you got. You're going to have to trim some fat. Like John Gray, again, making over $10 million. Do you really want to be paying John Gray over $10 million? I know I don't, and I do love John Gray. I think he has had moments of dominance for the Rangers, but I really don't think you want to be paying John Gray over $10 million next year. I think that could be a prime candidate to get traded. Let me keep going. Let me catch up here. Do I believe Skip Schumacher will be the next manager? That is my inkling. I said that earlier on the show. I do think Skip gets brought in kind of in a transition year. You think Bruce Bochy probably only has 2 years left. Maybe he coaches this year and next year at the most. I can't see Bruce continuing to coach beyond 2026. Maybe he proves me wrong. I'm not going to complain, but I do think Skip has kind of been brought in to be the manager in waiting. It just will not shock me to see them insert him into that role. Maybe next year. And again, I would love to see Skip. I think he is a guy that is highly respected around the league. He's going to get another managerial position. It's going to be with the Rangers or with somebody else. It's a foregone conclusion. He will manage again. I hope that it's with the Rangers. I think that would be a very, very solid pick. Is Bruce Bochy going to cede that position, though? Is the timing going to work out? I don't know, right? Somebody next year really needs a manager. They're going to throw some dollars in front of Skip, and the Rangers will have a decision to make. But Bruce Bochy in a contract year, last year of Bruce Bochy's contract, I think the stars are aligning for Skip to be the next manager, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let me keep going here. Yeah, JJ, I think CY definitely is going to make a great pitch for Sasaki. I'd love to see him on the club. That would be huge. Again, Ohtani, Darvish, all had the Rangers as their finalists. I think the Rangers in Japan are known for being a solid organization, an organization that treated players well coming over from the NPB. So I really feel like the Rangers have a shot, especially because Sasaki is not going to be getting that big Yamamoto Ohtani payday. He's going to be on a small contract to start out based on how it all works with some of the posting rules with the Japan League and with the MLB. So Rangers got a shot. We'll see what happens. I'm excited. Who will take Venable's spot? Didn't they... I thought that they already replaced Venable, if I'm not mistaken. I thought that they replaced him already. Why am I blanking on that? Let me see here. Rangers' new bench coach. I think that they brought somebody over from the Giants, didn't they? Donnie Ecker is the bench coach and the offensive coordinator. Let me see. Maybe we got to go to Rangers' new assistant coach. Let me make sure I got that right. New York Rangers. Boo. Come on now. Come on, Google. Stop being biased. We got, I thought they had announced it for some reason. So I think it might be Donnie Ecker. I know they hired Justin Veal as the new hitting coach after they lost hires, but I think they've already replaced the assistant coach. So we'll see. I'll get back to you on that. I'm not 100% sure, but I thought that they figured that out. I don't know. I think it is Donnie Ecker, but don't quote me. I'm trying to read real quick on the fly here. Let me keep going here. Let me see if I got anything to catch up on comments-wise. I think I'm good. Appreciate y'all. Let's talk about a couple other things here to wrap up the show tonight. We've been going for a little while. I love having all y'all hang out. It's been great. Keep the comments coming. If you got anything else, I really appreciate you guys. The comments keep things fresh. You guys know I can kind of rant on and on about stuff. It's not hard to do, but I appreciate y'all keeping it fresh, mixing it up for me. The dates that are coming up that I think we have to keep our eye on, dates to keep your eye on. So November 19th is the deadline for the Rangers to protect players from the Rule 5 draft. So essentially, you leave guys unprotected from the 40-man roster, they can get picked up in the Rule 5 draft, and there are some guys that are eligible for that. So you are going to see the Rangers add some guys to the 40-man here in the next week. So the 19th is a Tuesday. Great. So when we come back for the Wednesday show next week, we'll have a much better picture of the Rangers 40-man roster. And that will give us, I think, a good idea of some of the Rangers' intentions moving forward. But the Rule 5 draft is on December 11th, so we got a while for that. The non-tender deadline is November 22nd. Will the Rangers non-tender some players? There's been talks. Maybe Dane Dunning might be a non-tender. Dane Dunning's going to be making a little bit more money in 2025. Again, the Rangers are going to have to get creative with some salary shedding. Is Dane Dunning potentially going to be a guy that they non-tender? That is a name that I've heard multiple sources from. I don't know. I think that the Rangers are going to have to make some tough decisions, potentially letting go of some guys that are going to be eating up a little bit of salary. If you want to make some moves to improve this team, I think you've got to let go of some of the guys that did not have a great 2024 and aren't necessarily above average players at this point anyways. Look, I love John Gray. I don't know if he's $13 million a year good. Again, I don't know if you want to be paying a guy like John Gray that much money. So, trade market, by the way, is alive. Look, one thing that I really don't like about the MLB offseason, which is kind of unique compared to other sports, is this time, like right after the World Series. Think about the NBA. Like right after the NBA Finals, there's that moratorium period, and then everything just explodes with all these free agent deals. MLB is such a buzzkill when it comes to the offseason. Everything takes so long. It's so drawn out and boring. I would love for them to figure out a way to get these free agent deals done right after the World Series. I know it's a long offseason, but I absolutely love that NBA has just found a way to get all the free agency buzz compacted into like a week or two right after the NBA Finals. I would love if the MLB could do something, a free agent window. I talked about this last year at the beginning of the season. I would love to see the MLB go to a free agent window. Like, you've got to get things done November, December. The MLB has to figure out a way to get this free agency hot stove time period heated up quicker. It is way too slow. Right now, we should be buzzing free agent deal, free agent deal. Your phone should be lighting up with notifications from Buster Only and all of those MLB reporters. And it is just so dead right now. And again, the NBA, I mean, look, they're not perfect in all aspects, the NBA, but they do have the market cornered on the ML or on their offseason and the free agent acquisitions. Like, some people think the NBA offseason is more exciting than the regular season. I'm not completely in that camp, but it's close. Like, NBA playoffs are great. I love the Dallas Mavericks. And man, what a game that was last night, by the way. Tough loss, but it was fun seeing Klay Thompson return back to Golden State. We won't get too off track on the Mavs tonight. There's going to be more time for that moving forward. But look, my point is, NBA has it figured out. MLB has got to get it figured out themselves. This free agency period has got to be heated up quicker. It's got to be more exciting. I would love to see a window. If you're not going to do a window, you just got to figure out a different solution. It cannot be this slow and boring. You want to keep the momentum going. You've got all of these people with eyes on the World Series, right? You've got all these people that have been watching the World Series, have been following along. You want to build off that momentum from the World Series, and you want to have an absolutely lit free agency period right after the World Series comes to an end. Again, this is a very boring time in the Major League offseason, Major League Baseball offseason, and you would love for there to be deals flying around already with some big name players. I hope that you see that change moving forward. I hope tonight, after I get off the live, I have a bunch of notifications and things start turning, but I'm not hopeful. So MLB, figure it out. Get the offseason rolling quicker, please. Oh, my goodness. All right, y'all. So beyond that, like I said, next week when we get back on, we'll have that deadline to protect players from the Rule 5 draft. That's November 19th. Non-tender deadline, November 22nd. Rule 5 draft, December 11th. So next week when we get back on the live, we're going to have a much better picture of the Rangers 40-man roster. We're going to see who gets added, who gets left off. And then we'll stay locked into that Rule 5 draft on December 11th. That'll be fast approaching. We'll see who the Rangers pick up. We'll see what other teams maybe poach some players from us that got left unprotected, that did not get added to the 40-man roster by that November 19th deadline. Time will tell. But I appreciate all y'all hanging out. It's been fun to recap. Josh Smith, Silver Slugger, Corey Seager, and Marcus Semien both got nominated, did not win. But Josh Smith, utility, American League, Silver Slugger, gotta love it. We talk new front office moves. Again, congratulations to the promotion. Ross Fenstermaker, general manager, working with CY, who himself got promoted to president of the organization. And then Cole Figueroa, assistant general manager, coming over from the Rays. Congrats to all those guys. Justin Veal, another guy coming over from the Giants as the new hitting coach to replace Tim Hires. And then we talked a little bit of Sasaki, free agent signing. What's he going to do? I think the jury's still out. Rangers, I think, are going to be in the mix at the end. We'll see what happens. And finally, we ended talking about the deadlines approaching. Who are the Rangers going to add to the 40-man to protect from the Rule 5 draft? Deadline for that is November 19th, and non-tender deadline, November 22nd. Will Dane Dunning survive the non-tender deadline? I don't know. I'm interested, y'all. It's going to start heating up hopefully pretty quickly here. Thank you for hanging out. I see a lot of people on TikTok. Hit that follow button. If you're not following, not subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate if you hit that follow or subscribe button. Want to keep growing this good group of people we got talking baseball and talking Rangers baseball in particular. Again, thank you for all the comments, the likes, the views. You guys keep things going, and you make it fun for me too. So much appreciated, all of you guys. Hope you have a great rest of the week. I will be back this weekend to talk college football. So we'll have the live stream going after the Texas Longhorns game. We will also have the live stream going after the Dallas Cowboys game. My goodness. At least the Longhorns are doing all right, but this Dallas Cowboys season is getting ugly quickly, turning into a Texas Rangers 2024 season. I mean, I did not expect, I'm not one of those delusional fans that thought the Cowboys were going all the way to the Super Bowl this year. I thought maybe they would make the playoffs at least, but clearly that ain't happening. I thought surely the Cowboys would give us a little bit of a reprieve from the suck that the Rangers brought to us in 2024. I mean, we love our teams regardless, but Cowboys, not meant to be this year. Not meant to be. Let me keep going. John, by the way, missed this comment. If you're still hanging out, I think we need to trade a ton of those minor league bats that were stinking it up in the bigs last year. We'll see what they decide to do. You know, they dumped a couple of those guys, right? I don't know if Foscue is going to be a guy that they continue to stick with or not. You know, they clearly were ready to let go of Davis Wenzel, who was a first-round pick for the Rangers. I think we went through, like, they could have had Gunnar Henderson. The Rangers could have drafted Gunnar Henderson, but they drafted Davis Wenzel instead. That's got to be one of the biggest gaffes, by the way, in Texas Rangers history. You could have drafted Gunnar Henderson. Instead, you drafted Davis Wenzel. Ouch. Just ouch. I remember looking that up last year with y'all in the middle of the live, and that just blew my mind. That's painful. You could have had Gunnar. Instead, you drafted Wenzel. So is Foscue going to have a similar fate? Foscue was drafted, I believe, in the same year Davis Wenzel was. The Rangers had one of those like compensatory, that's a mouthful, compensatory picks. I think that's right. So they had like a pick right after the first round was over. They drafted Foscue, and then I think they drafted Wenzel right after. I think that's right. Either that or Josh Young, one or the other. And Gunnar Henderson was literally the next guy taken like right after Wenzel. Look, I don't know if Foscue is even like trade baitable. Can you even get somebody quality for Foscue? Does somebody want to take a flyer on that dude? I mean, look, the tape on him in 2024 is freaking ugly. Like, you don't want to go back and watch Justin Foscue tape in 2024. And I think y'all know we wish nothing but the best for all Rangers players. There is no one on the Rangers that we dislike. We do call it like we see it, right? Guys suck. They're not having good years. We're going to say they're not having good years. That's okay to say as a fan. I think all of them are great guys. I don't know them personally, but none of them strike me as bad dudes. But they had bad years up at the plate. So look, Foscue, I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he turns it around. But I really don't want to see them trot him back out there next year. I mean, he looked lost at the plate. So, John, I don't know, going back to your comment, if we're even going to be able to get good guys for some of those dudes if we do trade them and put them on the market. Last thing, Natalie says, I think Harris should DH, play outfield on one of the four-arm playing. Look, Harris had a nice little last week of the season. He hit the home run. I think that it's a small sample size. I think Harris is going to have to earn it and prove it in spring training. We're talking about Dustin Harris, Rangers outfielder that got brought up the last week of the season, had a pretty good AAA year. I think that might be a guy that they say prove it in spring training. Maybe he has a really good season, spring training season, that is, and they decide to put him on the roster, the opening day roster, but I don't know. I think it's going to depend on what they do with free agent signings. Are they going to go outside the org and potentially get a right-handed outfielder that can handle the lefty pitching when Evan Carter and Leody Taveras have struggled against lefties in the past? Time will tell. But I wouldn't mind giving Harris an opportunity. I think you got to see him have a good spring training, though, if you're going to hand over the reins to him. All right, y'all. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Again, if you want to come back on Saturday and hang out, we'll be going live pretty much right after the Longhorns game. Who do the Longhorns have this weekend? And it's hard for me to keep everything straight after a long day. But let me pull this up here. Longhorns got Arkansas. That's right. ABC. Okay, so we got a little national TV ball game. 9 a.m. Vegas time, 11 a.m. in Texas. Texas goes to Fayetteville to take on the Arkansas Razorbacks. So we'll see how that game goes. I'd imagine the Longhorns are favored by a considerable amount in that game. Man, I don't know. Let me see. Longhorn spread here. Let's see what the Longhorns line is for this weekend. So on FanDuel, looks like minus 13.5. That feels about right. I thought it would be over 2 touchdowns, but right under 2 touchdowns. I think you got to take that. I think the Arkansas Razorbacks, they had the nice win against Tennessee. We'll see how it goes. I would expect the Longhorns to take care of business by a couple of touchdowns, though. If you can get the number under that 14-point margin, it's at 13.5 right now. I think you got to take that. So we'll be going live after that game. And then the Cowboys. Who do we got this week? Oh, I'm kind of afraid to look. Oh, yeah, Monday Night Football against the Texans. That's right, Monday Night Football against the Texans. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Texans coming off the loss to the Lions, the last-second loss. Right now, the line is Cowboys plus 7.5. Cowboys plus 7.5. I don't know if I'm touching that. I do not feel great about the state of the Cowboys right now. The offense is not going great. I know the defense is looking better. They got Micah Parsons back, but yikes. Texans are not exactly the team that you want to see right now. If you're the Cowboys reeling a little bit. Anyways, come back and hang out, talk football. If you want to throw in some Rangers comments in there too, we'll take those as well. But I appreciate all y'all. Again, thank you for tuning in. Hit that follow or subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Have a great rest of the week. We'll be back next Wednesday to talk more Rangers baseball. And I think I mentioned to y'all, if anything big happens, look, I don't necessarily consider Figueroa, Fenstermaker to be huge deals that I need to get on and do an emergency press conference for, but I will definitely hop on if the Rangers make any big free agent acquisition, trade. If anything big happens, I'll be going live immediately on that day. Until that happens, we'll keep going on Wednesdays. It's kind of a nice day in the middle of the week to break up the week, and we'll keep talking Rangers baseball. Hope y'all have a great rest of the week if I don't see you this weekend. And as I always say, to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.